So you might be interested to know a little background about Tucker Carlson's dad, Richard Carlson. I know that he's been on Megyn Kelly recently and others and talking about his mom. He hated his mom. Yeah, his mom was Lisa McNear Lombardi. She was the daughter of one of the wealthiest San Francisco families. Um, she ran away from home a lot. Then she went off to college, I think UC Berkeley, and she met Tucker's dad, Richard Carlson, who he had a really messed up background. I mean, an orphanage. Anyway, were married for 6 years, had two sons, one of them Tucker, and then she left. She like abandoned them, but Tucker's dad had said that she drank and did all these drugs, and so yeah, it was definitely an estranged relationship for sure. And then when she died, she only had left like both the sons, Tucker and his brother, $1 in her inheritance because she came from that wealthy family. They ended up getting it, I guess, because they fought at the estate. But so I'm not focused so much on his mother, although I think there's probably an interesting background there in regards to Lombardi. Because this like goes back to a lot of your syndicates, like where Pelosi's family lines go back to. It goes back to mob ties, all the way going into Italy. But I'm not focused on Tucker's mom. I'm gonna really what's more important here is well, not that that's not important, but is what Tucker's dad was involved in. I mean, he was the king of media. Well, he was the CEO of a King Broadcast. There's so many things he was involved in. So, one of those being, in 92, Carlson this would be Tucker's dad, Richard Carlson, became the CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people that produces and distributes programming for public broadcasting. Yes. He was also, in 97, he became the president and CEO of King World Public Television, a subsidiary of King World Productions, the syndicator of Oprah, Wheel of Fortune, and Jeopardy, among other successful TV shows, until the network was purchased in the summer 1999 by CBS for $2.5 million. Foreign relations. He was definitely involved in foreign relations. So he testified dozens of times before various U.S. congressional committees, including the Senate on Foreign Relations Committee and the House Foreign Relations Committee. He has also been involved in negotiations on behalf of the U.S. government with many foreign governments, including those of China, Korea, USSR, Germany, Costa Rica, Belize, Liberia, Botswana, South Africa, Morocco, and Israel. In 1990, Carlson jointly addressed the Israel Knesset with Malcolm Forbes Jr. 3 years later, he jointly addressed Britain's House of Commons with Richard Branson. People that are aware know about Richard Branson, right? Yeah. In 1994, Carlson was an international observer at the first democratic elections in South Africa. Yeah, so many things he's been involved in. And then, So there was an act in 1967 called the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, and there was Senate subcommittee on communications held about the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967. In the proceedings of the hearing, all of the witnesses who appeared voiced their support for the general purposes of the bill, and the majority supported the passage of legislation as it was currently drafted. The majority of witnesses' testimonies focused on providing the legislators with information about how the Corporation Public Broadcasting, who Tucker's dad was the CEO of, should operate in regards to specific topics related to witnesses' fields of expertise, but not necessarily ideas or suggestions that warranted additional removal or editing of any bill's provisions. So those that think we once had free speech, we really never have. It's always been under the government or somebody that does the bidding for the government. Actually, the Republicans were, they actually put up the biggest fuss about this. So it said during the tenure of Carlson with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Republican Party began its official shift on public broadcasting when it added a plank to its platform condemning public media as misguided, ridiculous, and undeserving of government support. The party's official position was that public media had a liberal bias and that the party looked forward to privatization of the system. So Tucker's dad did not like that, and he actually had said that he said the Republicans, where is it? They are misinformed. And who knows, maybe they were, but I think he was just wanting to control the broadcasting network, would be my guess. Just a guess. But yeah, he spoke up against that, and he said the Republicans are misinformed. They are putting the blame on the wrong outfit. Carlson remained at the Corporation for Public Broadcasting for 5 years, and then he went on to do the King World Public. But he was involved in so many, and he wasn't elected to anything, but he was involved in all of these different, and a lot of what the King World publication did too was it was doing propaganda in other countries, so other countries would see us a certain way. So if you think they were doing it in other countries and not ours, think again. Carlson was an advisor of the Institute for the Study of Terrorism and Political Violence. He is also a long-term member of the European Broadcasting Union and Asian Broadcasting Union. In 2021, Carlson was reported to be the director of Policy Impact, a lobbying firm. The firm has lobbied the United States on behalf of Viktor Orban, government in Hungary. So, yeah, there's so much more I could go into this, but let's just put it this way. I don't trust the same people that had no problem for years just going along with the agenda, knowing they weren't telling us the whole truth, but collecting a paycheck for it. But then as soon as there's a shift and the American people wake up, or a lot of them, then they all get into gear and then, oh, I'm now a hero. I've left my place, or I got fired because I'm a whistleblower. Yeah, right. The true whistleblowers, at least most of them anyway, you never get a voice in anything. So, but I don't trust those people. They, for years, sat there and took a paycheck knowing that they were going along with an agenda where they weren't telling the American people the whole truth. So I don't trust people that were willing to do that for so long, and that now all of a sudden we're supposed to see as heroes. Like, that's what bugs me about when people get in my comment section and go off on me. It's either, well, you're doing the bidding for them, like you're an Alex Jones type, or you're you just want to do you want to stay naive? Once you get effed over enough times by your own government and news, do you want to keep getting effed over by them? Like, don't keep being naive, is my point. So basically, when I call it, they look at us as cattle, as I said, right? And I said last night, I said, we've jumped the fences. The fences are down. We're going in all different directions. You got a bunch of cattle over here talking about UFOs. You got a bunch of cattle over here talking about the flat earth. You got a bunch of cattle over here talking about what's going on with Hollywood. Got a bunch. We've gone rogue. We've gone rogue. The World Economic Forum cannot do their plans without our undivided attention, or at least most of us, and we're rogue, off going in every different direction, and they can't do any balancing act there. So what do? Bring Tucker Carlson in, who has the biggest late night show, or 8 o'clock evening show, to get a big controversy going. He gets thrown out at Fox, and Fox is in on it, he too, and then he's going to bring up the new truth networks of Megyn Kelly and all of them that I mentioned before, that will bring the truth to you. And I say it's just a bunch of, it's a dog and pony show, no different than it was before. As I said, just corralling the cattle.